You could be anywhere doing anything, but you're hanging out with us, and we appreciate that. So wherever you're listening and watching, and however you're listening and watching, we appreciate you guys for listening and watching. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of the Game Plan Podcast. Alex Goodwin is my name. Again, Alex Goodwin is my name. You can follow me on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. Again, on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. That's T as in tacos, S as in sangria, M as in margaritas. Kennedy Miller, my boy.
What's going on, man? I'm excited. I'm excited about this.
Hey, man, absolutely, man. This is our third year in a row doing live streams here during the NBA playoffs here on our Game Plan Podcast YouTube channel. So, Kennedy Miller, where can the folks find you on the artist formerly known as Twitter?
Underscore Kennedy Miller underscore. Again, that's underscore Kennedy with a Y, not an I, Miller underscore.
All right. All right. And once again, folks, we appreciate you guys for watching on YouTube. Put your questions and your comments in the chat. You never know. We might just answer your questions here on the show. But Kennedy, I said T as in tacos. I probably should have said T as in tired, because that's what we were last night watching the Denver Nuggets and Jamal Murray put in a game winner over your man, Anthony Davis. So, Kennedy Miller, I have long told you, you are the most optimistic person I know. And that optimism reaches all-time highs when it's about your Dallas Cowboys or it's about LeBron James, because you think those teams can do all things through LeBron, who strengthens them. But once again, they're down 0-2 to the Denver Nuggets. So, Kennedy Miller, do you have just a little bit more optimism left in you?
Well, I actually predicted Denver to win this series. I predicted them to win in six. You can check my Facebook status. I did it before the playoffs started. I predicted Denver to win in six. Um, those dudes are just too good. They are just too good. Like I just tune in to try and watch a great series, because I enjoy watching Denver play basketball, and of course I enjoy watching, the Lakers play. But it does get a little frustrating, right? Because Denver is like a well-oiled machine, and it's almost like they're this generation's version of the Spurs, where it's just like you cannot make mistakes against them, and if you do, you cannot compound it with another mistake, right? So obviously, the first game, D'Angelo Russell didn't play well, but he wasn't the only reason why we lost. Um, but yesterday, they get a 20-point lead. Um, they really did a good job of finding the shots, finding good looks in the Jokic pick. Like they were putting Jokic in a pick and roll with LeBron and AD because Jokic was guarding AD. They had a lot of success out of it. D'Angelo Russell hit 7 threes, which I think is a team, top for a team high in the playoffs.
Mhm.
But then they switched Jokic off AD and they put him on Hachimura, and they weren't able to find the same success in the second half in that pick and roll. And you could just feel the momentum turning. And again, if you make mistakes, right? If you make mistakes, boneheaded mistakes, they're gonna come back to bite you. And you can talk about questionable calls, um, but at the end of the day, when LeBron missed that shot, I knew we were losing because I didn't even think we were winning in overtime. Like when he missed that shot, I knew it was over. Um, and some people give flack for like a bad shot. I don't think it was a bad shot. I think he probably would have drove it had KCP stayed up, but because he fell and it was a shot clock too, it wasn't like you could wind it all the way down. It was 11 seconds left on the shot clock. Because he fell, you're probably not going to get a better shot, like a more wide open shot than that shot in that possession, right? So it rimmed in and out. He had made 2 threes in the quarter. He had 12 points in the quarter, so I'm not upset with it. And then you just got to tip your cap to Jamal Murray. Like he hit a tough shot. He hit a tough shot over um, who I think is the best defender in the NBA. And so um, the way I look at it, like Jokic is he's climbing up that pyramid. And if he repeats this year, it's going to be a conversation. that needs to be had.
I really want us to really like just think and appreciate how wide the Nuggets margin for error is. Jamal Murray shot 3 for 16 through the first three quarters. The Nuggets as a team shot 8 for 34 from the 3-point line. The Lakers had D'Angelo Russell make 7 out of his 11 3-point shots. We saw Anthony Davis at like the complete version of Anthony Davis offensively. He got whatever he wanted when he wanted through the first three quarters. He didn't score in the last quarter and change, but he got 32 points and he did it like fairly easily within the flow of the offense, wasn't really forcing anything, right? LeBron James active on both ends of the floor, right? They did all of that. And for me, there wasn't a moment where I was like, the Lakers are definitely going to win this game. Like the entire time I was thinking, why does it just feel like Denver is going to at some point make their move? When they make their move, boom, can the Lakers respond? And that's the thing about Denver being champions, right? Because you see these championship teams like San Antonio, like you mentioned, or like Golden State, or teams like that, where you're like, you got to put them down. Like, just because you have a 15-point lead or a 20-point lead, 15-point leads and 20-point leads in this NBA might as well be 7 to 8-point leads with the way these guys shoot the ball, right?
Yeah, it's not good enough.
So, yeah, it's definitely not big enough. And then, like, watching it for the Lakers, it felt like, Ken, have you ever played basketball in the driveway with your daddy?
Mm-hmm.
You were like a little kid and your dad was like much larger than you, right? And at first, you get up a couple of buckets or whatever, you start feeling yourself, like, I'm beating dad. Like, I can really play, right? And then your dad just hears you talking hot noise and he's like, he does that thing from like Weebay from The Wire. He's like, you need to remember who I am. And all of a sudden he just puts the beats to you and you can't get a shot off. He just, bop, right? That's kind of what it felt like and what it looked like for the Lakers. And I really kind of like, Ken, I know this must like hurt for you because in any other situation LeBron James plays this well, his teams tend to win, right? Like, at least for me, this shows like in some way, shape, or form, right? LeBron doesn't have as big of an impact on winning as he used to. Because typically LeBron James plays a game, what was he, 26, 12, and 8, a handful of blocks, active defensively, right? 6-7 years ago, LeBron's team wins that game fairly comfortably, right? Last night, like I said, there wasn't a moment where I thought the Lakers were going to win. And that's a
Well,
shame.
you had a stretch where I don't think he played bad, but he didn't play great. Like he missed a lot of layups around the rim that Denver on the other side finished. And then I can't remember the number for the plus minus for the series, but I think they're like plus 11 and 100 and some odd minutes that he's on the floor. And when he's off the floor in 60 minutes or whatever minutes, they're like minus 60. Like they're getting blitzed when he's not on the floor. And, that's been a story before of LeBron teams, but it's more evident now because he can't make as much of an impact as he used to on the basketball floor. And, you know, they're like Jared Vanderbilt would help, which, they said he might come back game 3, but how much can you expect somebody to contribute after missing 2 months and just be thrown in the middle of a playoff series against the defending champs? Jared Vanderbilt and Christian Wood, I think they are rumoring to be back for the next game. But at the end of the day, they've lost 10 straight to this team. And pretty much every one of those games has been like this.
Yeah.
Maybe not with the Lakers taking this much of a lead, but it's a close game down the stretch. And the reality is Denver knows how to execute down the stretch. They know exactly what they want to go to. And the Lakers sometimes do not. And Anthony Davis kind of said it, yesterday, like, we just have too many stretches where we don't know what we're doing on the offensive and defensive side of the ball.
And to say that publicly, to me, that's a damning indictment of your head coach, Darvin Ham, who I know you have complained to me through text on this show everywhere about how poor of a job Darvin Ham has done this year. And I think I gave Darvin Ham so much credit for the way the Lakers like turned the roster over on the fly at the deadline last year, were able to make a run to the conference finals. Like I gave Darvin Ham all the credit in the world because I did not think a rookie head coach was going to be able to really kind of simmer the tide, for lack of a better term, right? I didn't think like a rookie head coach was going to be able to figure that out, but he did. He made the adjustments and they made a run. So this year I was expecting, okay, this guy can make something happen. And boy, you talk about like a sophomore slump. Jeez Louise. I mean, his rotations have been really funky. And even when Denver made their counter to put Jokic on Hachimura, put KCP on LeBron, and put Aaron Gordon on Anthony Davis, he didn't have a counter to that counter. And that to me is like another thing I think Denver has that other teams just don't. Like Denver has probably one of one of the best, if not the best, starting five in the league. And then you've got a great coach over there too, who, all right, if we need to make an adjustment, all right, if we need to hire Jokic over there on Hachimura for a hot little second, we can do it.
Yeah, so there's a couple of points to that. Number one, I'm not really, as a coach, I don't really like to blame other coaches, but I do feel that I don't want to say he's a below average coach, but I feel like most coaches would have been, this team should have been a fourth seed. Like this Lakers team is going to lose, right? They're probably going to lose, but they're not a first round team. They're probably like a second or third, a conference finals team again, depending on the matchups. Run into the Nuggets in that round and then lose. The malpractice that it was to have Torian Prince playing so many minutes so early when you have a Hachimura who is a matchup nightmare next to LeBron and AD. I think we've talked about this before on the podcast, but like I can't remember the stat. Torian Prince plays over 25 minutes. We're like 0 and 17, 18. Why has it even gotten that long? Like, why is the number even that big? You know what I mean? Because like honestly, you think about it, you have LeBron and AD. The big man is gonna guard AD, right? You're gonna put your biggest wing, your best defender on LeBron. A lot of teams don't have another guy in their lineup that's 6'9" and like 240, which is what Rui Hachimura is, which provides the mismatch. And so a lot of times they're able to exploit it. And then you got two guys on the perimeter that, can be a little inconsistent, but they can create their own shot. So he starts Hachimura and, around the All-Star break, post All-Star break, they finished the year with the top five offense. And I think it was like number three.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, how do you guard that? How do you guard that? And so the problem that Denver presents to them, they have Michael Porter that they drafted at number 14, which he's a 6'10" guy as your third biggest guy in the lineup, next to Aaron Gordon and Jokic. And the what unlocked Denver and what opened up a championship window was Kentavious Caldwell Pope. That
Come
is
on,
what just that is just what it unlocked it. And you know
but
how
you
I
hate KCP.
felt about his LA days the first year. Like we went from LeBron begging this man to shoot the ball on national TV to what he's doing now is like Klay Thompson as from a role player perspective. He is so valuable to them because he's shooting the ball at such a high clip. He's the best perimeter defender on the team, and he can finish at the rim. And so, and he's a really good cutter too. And he's like 6'5", 6'5", 6'6". He's a big guard. And so, another reason why that Russell Westbrook trade set them back is because part of that Russell Westbrook trade was them giving up KCP, and he ends up in a Denver uniform,
Torturing you. Torturing
torch.
you.
And he has a game every time he plays us. And so, like, you got all these weapons around Jokic, who again, like there's about to be a conversation that needs to be had about this guy and how good he really is. Because I value Anthony Davis really high on the defensive end, right? As far as being able to switch out on the perimeter, anchor our whole defense, because our defense would be bottom of the league if he wasn't playing. But to be able to control all of that, the versatility, the skill, right? Maybe another guy like maybe like if the Nuggets play like Giannis or and Brook Lopez,
Right.
it might present a little bit of a challenge. But think about anybody else. If he's doing AD like that, like he gonna do everybody else like that too.
That must feel like awful for Anthony Davis, because I saw people talking about AD needs to step up against Jokic. AD needs to step up, and it's like these first two ball games, and even last postseason, AD played about as well as he could, offensively and defensively. Jokic is just that
He's just
good,
good.
and I think the wild thing about Jokic is because if you just look at him, he's a little chubby, a little wide across the back, as our aunties and
Right.
uncles would like to say. He doesn't look too athletic. You can barely slide a piece of cardboard under his feet. He looks like he gets in the pool with his shirt off, and he's just every single thing, just boom, boom. And it doesn't look athletic. It looks boring. And I think for a lot of people, it's hard to really wrap their minds around the idea that all of these phenomenal athletes that are in the NBA that can jump 50 inches, that can, make 40 footers from the logo and do all this other stuff. And the best player in the NBA is the dude who gets in the pool with his shirt off.
But Alex, you got to think. Like you got to think. Like I'm sitting back and I'm watching this dude last night, and I'm like, okay, Steph Curry, as great as he is, right? His best, his 3-point shot is like his signature shot. At his best, it's like a 40% shot.
45.
45, right?
Yeah.
Elite. MJ, LeBron, best shot, getting to the rim, turnaround fades, whatever. Kobe too. At their best, like 50% rate. Like this dude is closer to 60% on the shots that he's making. Like, I'm genuinely surprised when he misses like 2 or 3 shots in a row.
Yes. Yes.
I am. I am. And it really becomes like, so what do you really do? Like when this dude is making more than half of every shot that he shoots.
I got one. I got one. I think the Lakers might have to try to run a 6-man on the court or something
Dude.
when they're out there. Just run Gabe Vincent out there on the court, or whoever, right? Or like maybe the solution is be 9 feet tall.
Because I on it, there's nothing else. Like if Minnesota, and we'll talk about them soon. Like if they beat Phoenix, that might be the toughest challenge with Gobert and Cat.
You
But
worried? Ain't nobody worried about Karl Anthony Towns and
I was just about to say, am I really gonna put faith in Carl?
but you got me. You almost had me sound like Stephen A. Smith when he was talking to LeVar Ball. Ain't nobody worried about no damn LeVar.
Yeah, like, am I really gonna be like worried about Carl Anthony Towns? But I mean, they would be the only team other than like Milwaukee who I would say like would really have the size um to maybe cause him problems. But then we haven't even talked about Jamal Murray, who at this point, how many how many guards are you taking over him in the playoffs? At this point, how many guards you taking over?
There aren't many. I right now. I mean, we're talking like total NBA.
Because that dude is like a elite shot maker,
Yeah.
and he can
What he's
finish at the
playing at the
rim. He
moment.
can dunk on you.
I think like there's one thing about like being locked in and being in the moment. A lot of dudes miss 13 of their first 16 through the first 3 quarters, but he finished out, I think, making 6 of his last 10.
Mhm.
Right. So he won that game for them dudes at the line, knocking down some tough shots. But if you're asking like who would I take over him, or like comparable dudes, I mean, we've changed the way we think about Jalen Brunson over the last year and a half or so. But I think I'm still probably going with Jamal Murray on that one. Right.
Mhm.
Like Anthony Edwards is a
We'll see. This
maybe,
playoff series will tell me a lot. This
right,
series
like
will tell me a lot.
that's a we'll see. Like there aren't too many dudes I'm taking before Jamal Murray, and I just like want to point out watching Anthony Edwards and Kevin Durant go back and forth. Anthony Edwards is what my grandfather and your grandfather, Anthony Edwards, the way he kicked it, when he kicks it, he is what my grandfather would call one of these disrespectful young punks. And you know what I'm talking about too. One of these young people don't have no respect, don't know how to act, right?
Yeah.
And I love it. I love it. Like, can we get Anthony Edwards mic'd up? Like, that should be its own thing because just reading his lips and hearing like the bits and pieces you can just catch on the TV microphones is an absolute hoot.
Yeah, like, I think obviously I just did all this talking about Jokic, but he will have an argument in the next couple of years of being the best player in the NBA. And he's got it, right? Like he's got the charisma. He's with the culture, right? He's he's funny in interviews. Like we want to see him mic'd up. Like I am very interested to see his development because he's only like 22, 23 years old.
Yeah, he still look, if he was a regular person, he'd still be on his mother's insurance.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and that dude is
Oh,
legit. Like
hey man, do you think he's Michael Jordan's long lost son? Because I don't know.
he could be.
Did you see the
Oh,
story?
when they put the faces together?
Yes.
Yes. When they put the faces together, I'm like, golly. And he has one of those like he soars in the air. Like he ain't just jumping high. He jump high and he soars. Um, and so he's good. Minnesota is a good team too.
Just for 1 second, I want to go back to one thing. You said something about Michael Porter Jr., and I just want to say, man, that man is balling because he got an extra person that's laying up at his house, his dumbass brother. And I
Which
told you,
one?
kid, the fool they just kicked out the league. He got a couple stupid. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. ain't the sharpest knife in the drawer himself. I mean, Michael Porter Sr. needs to be looking around like, boy, I should have spent some more time when y'all was younger instilling some good core values about what to do and what not to do, especially John Tay, because
That's crazy.
bruh, he had to be the kid who, when your teacher passed the test back to you, and there's that one kid, his test is always face down, or this teacher's walking around during the test, and it's like, look at all the answers carefully. That was John Tay Porter. John Tay Porter was the kid when you played hide and go seek. What did Steve Harvey say on Kings of Comedy? He was just hit on the other side of the tree.
Of the tree.
Yes. John Tay, go hide. I'm already hiding. Like, just an idiot. And like his basketball career is completely over because he can't go play in Europe. Can you see what they do in Europe over soccer matches and like what they do in some of those Euro League games? Man, those folks make January 6th look like a kindergarten field day. Jonte Porter, look, Michael Porter is stuck supporting his boy. You're gonna be laying up on the couch all day long. So they were talking about Michael Porter Jr. is playing with a heavy heart, and I'm like, Jonte Porter ain't dead. He just dumb.
Yeah, he just made a stupid decision that's cost him his NBA career, his basketball career.
Oh, hold on. Somebody said the youngest Porter caught a body. Wait, he killed the youngest Porter brother killed somebody?
You didn't know that? That's why I said both of them. His youngest brother got sentenced to 6 years in prison.
Wait, like he shot somebody?
No. He hit somebody drunk driving.
Oh, Henry Ruggs type stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I give him a little bit more of the heavy heart stuff. I give him that. Just a little bit more. Not about John Tate, but about the other one. What's this other brother's name? I didn't even know Michael Porter had a brother until we found out about this John Tate Porter thing.
I can't remember the youngest brother's name, but it was right after the news that his other brother got suspended. It came out that this dude got sentenced to 6 years.
This is one of them situations where, corporal punishment ain't quite in style anymore. But let's just say Would nothing like that be happening in Ron Goodwin's household? Stupidity like this? Oh no.
Yeah, with all that money on the line, there's no way. And then placing the bets on your team, like, dude.
And I heard one of them, like, it was like the under for his point total was like 6 points. He played 3 minutes and I'm sick,
Right.
sick. And then the way it got flagged, they said somebody put an $80,000 bet on Jonte Porter and was gonna cash out and make $1 million. It's like ain't nobody in their right mind putting 80 racks on Jonte Porter. Like
Right.
if without this story, we wouldn't be able to pick him out of a lineup. Like we would see that dude at the airport anywhere. It's like, he sure looks tall. Maybe he plays basketball or something. And then we just keep it moving. Don't nobody know who he is.
How stupid do you have to be to do that?
That's
I,
stupid, guys. Is this camera on me?
it's camera on me. I didn't do this stuff. Quit playing.
That's what he ain't gonna be doing, playing no more.
Oh yeah.
So let's read. Cooked. Let's read some of these questions in the comments. So we got my brother Bryce shout out. He said the best part of the Timberwolves is Jordan Woods on the sidelines.
I still don't know how Carl did that, and I don't know how Carl is keeping that. But
shout out.
shout out to the big cat. Shout out to the big cat. He's making it work.
Shout out to him. Shout out to him, man. So let's move on to possibly, I think we talked about this off air, to what we think might be the most intriguing series of the Western Conference playoffs, because the Eastern Conference playoffs, they have 3 NBA TV specials. That Boston Miami series, that Milwaukee Indiana series, and that Orlando Cleveland series. That Orlando Cleveland series should probably be on Tubi or BET Plus, to be honest with you. If I'm keeping it funky, like they can stop running Baby Boy or Diary of a Mad Black Woman for like 3 hours to put that on. But this Mavericks Clippers series, can you pick the Mavs to win this series? Did you not?
Mavs in 7. Pick Mavs in 7.
Oh man, so we got the notification right before we went on the air. Kawhi Leonard is going to play tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So were you making your prediction under the assumption that Kawhi Leonard was not going to play this series? Like, just kind of walk me through it.
No, I thought he would play. I think, the Clippers have had the Mavericks number for 2 of the last 4 years that they played. And I think, as well as Luka plays against them, it just really wasn't enough. It wasn't enough help. But I think, he's got a good second hand in Kyrie. And I think that they really upgraded at the deadline to give him some things that will help him be successful, right? You get a rim runner in Gafford. You get some bigger wings, right, in PJ Washington. You get, a bigger wing in PJ Washington. And so now I feel like they're a more formidable team. And then obviously I look stupid because they get like blown out the water in game 1 with no Kawhi. And James Harden looks amazing. Russell Westbrook brings energy off the bench, right? But we've seen this James Harden before. In fact, last year, I want to say he had 40 the first. Well, I know he hit the game winner. He had 40
against Boston, game 1.
Yeah, he had 40. He had 40 in a series. In I think it was like game 5 or game 6.
Mm-hmm.
So the jury's still out on what James Harden we gonna get, because we might get another great James Harden, and then we can go through numerous amounts. And I've tried to defend it too, but we can go through numerous amounts of games, series where he has just not shown up. So we'll see. I just think this is the year that the Mavericks are going to take that leap. I think whoever wins out of this series is going to go to the conference finals and play the Nuggets. And so whoever wins the series very well could have a chance to come out of the West. I think that's just how good it is. This is not an average first round series. I don't think the Lakers Nuggets is an average first round series either.
It sure feels like it.
Yeah,
I had to do that to you. I'm sorry.
But I mean, if the Clippers blow them out the water again, it won't feel like that either. for that series. So
That's fair. And I think we have talked on this show because we've done this show for a very long time at this point. It's been a while, right? And I think the only time we've had a fully healthy Kawhi Leonard postseason was 2018-19 was the year he spent in Toronto.
yes.
Other than that, that right leg has just continued to give him problems, right? And I think, anytime Kawhi Leonard gets hurt, because they're so secretive about it, like he gets a hangnail and they'll be like day to day. He
Mhm.
has a tear in his meniscus day to day, right? And they won't tell you anything other than that. And you'll find out 3-4 weeks later, oh, Kawhi Leonard had a surgery like a month ago to clean up his knee. He tore his ACL or whatever the case happened to be, but they don't tell you really anything other than that. This was the first time where they were like, okay, there's nothing structurally wrong with his right knee. It's really just he's got a lot of swelling, tendonitis. He's working on it. And they were like, he's going to play this series. This is the first time that has ever happened. Any other time, they just keep giving you day to day, and it's like, yeah, he ain't coming out here. And I think a couple weeks ago when they started this whole thing, I think you texted me like, here we go. And I was like, looks like it. I'm like, and I told you, he's going to miss about 3 weeks. I said, if he's back at all, he'll be back at the start of the playoffs, but he's not playing the rest of the year. Right. But if he does play and he is playing tonight, he is statistically, by all of the metrics, one of the best playoff performers of all time. Just the way his number, if you see his regular season numbers and his postseason numbers, they just take a jump, right? So if he's out there, he's going to be hooping. But that's been the big thing with the LA Clippers is there's just so many combustible elements, starting with Kawhi Leonard's right knee. And then you go with Russell Westbrook being Russell Westbrook. And then, James Harden for years, Ken, you tried to defend him, but I had been going chapter and verse on James Harden. And when the moment is biggest, he will let you down. And then you add on to all that. The Clippers are just the Clippers. And Donald Sterling has a curse on this franchise.
Just a curse. It's just a curse, man.
And I don't know quite what it is. Like this man, I think that's why they're moving out of what are they? Staples Center. I think they call it something else now, but that's Staples Center. Mama named him Staples Center. It's crypto. Mama named him. It's like X. No, nobody say that. Mama named him Twitter. His name Twitter. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why Steve Ballmer moving them out to Inglewood, right? To get some of that, get them some good juju or something like that, right? Man. But I do think in this series, I picked the Mavs to win this series under the assumption I was not going to assume Kawhi Leonard was going to play, given the problems he has a degenerative condition with his legs, right? I'm like, I don't expect to see him. I just didn't, right? But if he's out there, they're full strength, full capacity. They've still got Norman Powell, still got Terrence Mann. If Zubac can stay on the floor, and that's been the problem with the Clippers when they've played the Mavericks, is Luka has been able to play Ivica Zubac off the floor. If Zubac can stay on the floor, they've got a shot because Daniel Gafford had no shot against Zubac down low the other night. He didn't. Mm-hmm. Zubac was a load for him to deal with, right? Mm-hmm. Add on top of that to me, and we kind of go back and forth about this. I think T. Lue's the best coach in the NBA. You say Spo. For me, it's like 1A, 1B, right? But what T. Lue was able to do out of timeouts, stopping runs, getting guys going who are struggling, not quite cooking quite yet, the way he's able to get those things going for them, I think is going to be the X factor, because Jason Kidd, I'm not too keen on his adjustments. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear that. I mean, you make a good point. I know he's going to play. I'll be interested to see how he looks. Tonight, how he moves, because he does turn it up in the playoffs. And he usually plays really well. And I just picked the Mavs because I feel like they got, not that the Clippers don't, but they got two elite shot makers. And Ty Lue is really great at mismatch hunting, which like LeBron talked about on his podcast, and it looked like you used to think it was like LeBron attacking people, like this dude
Yeah.
can't guard me. But the way that James Harden was attacking Luca last time and like hunting for him, it was
Yeah.
like, oh, has Ty Lue been behind this the whole time? Like, was he the one trying to do this? And so Luca gonna have to guard. Like he gonna have to play some defense, bro.
And that's the thing about Luka and Kyrie. Those are two dudes who they're like, we don't think they're good defenders, right? The statistics
Mhm.
bear that out as well, right? The problem Luka Doncic has had when they've played the Clippers has been this very thing. Because I remember in the series, was that 2 years ago, 3 years ago now? It's been
They
a
played in
minute.
the bubble, and then I
Yeah,
think they played again the year
the
after
next
that.
year. Right. That next year, it was game 6 in Dallas, and Kawhi Leonard just came down the floor 7 times in a row.
I think
Like,
it's when
Luka
he had
coming,
40.
yeah, and he just lit Luka Doncic up the entire fourth quarter. And it was like there was nothing that dude could do. Nothing. And so, like, your best player, he got to be able to give you something, or at least like. But the problem with the Clippers is, to a certain extent, there's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to hide them.
No,
You can
like
hide them on Terrence
especially,
Mann, maybe, like, but that's your best hope. Or if Russell Westbrook is out there on the court, okay, cool.
yep. But I have heard that Jason Kidd does make adjustments. I can't remember who I was watching, but they said he's like, because he's always been known as one of the smartest basketball players ever. And they say he kind of has like a, we'll do this. If they do this, then we'll go to this. Like he's already got the step for the step. So I'll be interested to see it. But like you said, it it really is not too many places to hide him. And part of it is just effort. Like he just trying to get the ball back. But you got to sit down in a chair and try and stop somebody.
Bro, I tell you what, last when they played on Sunday evening, I was like, hold on, is Luka Doncic actually trying to guard somebody? Because there was a couple of those possessions he was really trying to check James Harden. You can tell he was trying his damnedest.
Yeah.
And boy, it wasn't doing him a bit of good. It was
Yeah.
like, boy, I can tell this is the first time you've ever done this. You know what I'm saying? You know that kid who's presenting in front of the class, you're like, oh yeah, you look completely uncomfortable.
Right. You ain't never done this.
Yeah, that was Luka Doncic up there. But to move on quickly to this Minnesota Phoenix series, Ken, you picked Phoenix to win this series, and I'm not gonna lie to you, Ken, I don't quite really understand it. Like, I don't. I'm not gonna lie to you because I don't. Phoenix got 3 dudes that can score, and everybody else in their team belongs in the NBA witness protection program. Like, it's Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and then they got that asshole Grayson Allen, the ghost of Eric Gordon,
Yeah.
and what's Royce O'Neal, and who's the dude that got beat up by Isaiah Stewart, and the dude called the cops on Isaiah Stewart,
Um,
Drew Eubanks. There it is.
Eubanks. And they got Nurkic. And they got Nurkic.
Ain't nobody
I
worried
mean,
about
like no, he's a above average center in the league. I would
you.
say he's an above average center. But I mean, okay, so the reason I picked him, right? And it was tough. Like I went back and forth on it because Minnesota has like a top 3 defense in the league. They have a young budding superstar in Anthony Edwards. The game is slowed down now. It's not about in transition. It's about getting a bucket, and they got 2 of the best in the league at doing it. And KD and Book, like, and when in doubt, them dudes get to their spots, and they are and pretty efficient at doing it. And Bradley Beal's not too far behind. Um, and so that matters comes playoff time. Now you're right. Like the depth is very questionable, and um, I think Grayson Allen just went down in this game. I think he had they said it was an ugly ankle sprain. So they're depleted even more. They're going to have to throw Isaiah Thomas out there with that new hip.
See, don't make me laugh.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that.
No,
IT
because
been trying to get a roster spot for 3 years now.
he has a shout out to IT. Like he didn't get that 100 million from Boston, and then he had that trick hip because you two. You know exactly what I'm talking about, kid. He is too young, and like people our age, people born in like the mid 80s to the 90s era, we're too young to have trick body parts. You shouldn't have a trick knee or a trick hip. I mean, my back been acting up the last couple weeks, so I need to shut the hell up probably. But yet and
My hip.
still, your hip. Like, did he have that hip replaced?
He had like some type of, I believe it was a hip replacement, or it was like this major hip procedure that hadn't been done that many times.
You talking about the one that Tua and Bo Jackson had?
I think so. But yeah, his hip was messed up. And so like I just think it comes down to a bucket. And I think those guys, I think Minnesota would have a tough time to score in the half court. And I think that those guys could overcome it. But again, I'm looking wrong. Like, I mean, they're in this game, they're not getting blown out, but it's a very good game.
It is. It is a very good game. So, Ken, who do you have winning tonight? Game two, Mavs Clippers. Who you got?
I'm gonna just stick with my prediction. I think part of that is they have to at least steal one. So I'm gonna go with the Mavs winning this one. But I think Kawhi Leonard comes out and he plays well.
I think the Mavs tied this one up tonight.
Yeah.
I think, like, as we've seen in other playoff series, the road team losing 2 ball games isn't the end of the world, right?
No.
It's just not.
I've seen
It's a
plenty of
different
LeBron teams come back and win.
right. Like a couple years ago in that Mavs Clippers series, the Clippers lost the first 2 on their home floor,
Oh, sure did. Yep.
won the
That's
next
true.
2 on in Dallas, and it kind of went like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, and given the firepower Dallas has, because they got 2 dudes who can just put the ball in the hole.
Oh yeah.
Now, can
Oh
they
yeah.
get stops and can they get buckets from people not named Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic? Because I think Kyrie and Luka both had 30 apiece, and then they got 35 points total from everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Like that ain't gonna cut it.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, who is your third guy? Is it going to be Hardaway Jr.? Is it going to be Derrick Jones? Right? Can you get Daniel Gafford some rim runs? Something to that effect, right? PJ Washington. Like,
That's who it should be, hypothetically.
right. And I will tell you this, he gave Paul George a lot of trouble defensively the other night. Like, he
Mm-hmm.
was bothering Paul George because he's long and athletic. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be the interesting thing with Kawhi coming back. Like how these matchups kind of shake out. Who guards Luka? Who guards Kyrie? Right? Like, is it the sort of like rotation of Paul George, Terrence Mann, Kawhi on the 2 of them? Like, what does that look like for them? Right? If they can keep Zubac on the court, they really could be like really making something happen. But I
Mm-hmm.
think Dallas wins tonight. I think this is going to be one of them Luka Doncic 40-point nights.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's gonna show up. I think he's gonna show up tonight.
No doubt, no doubt. We're still going through the comments. You guys in the chat are y'all got me laughing. We got one comment from Maya. She says LeBron needs to retire. His hair has already beat him to it.
Shout out to Maya. It's about that time. It's about that time, though, honestly. Like,
For his hair or his career?
oh no. The hair been gone. But the career, you don't want to look like you don't want to look washed up. And he's still a very high level player, but again, the impact isn't there. A lot of times, especially in this series, in the altitude, he's gassed, right? He might have one more year, maybe, but after that, it's time to go.
I'll just speak to the hair thing first. Okay. I saw that donut LeBron got in the back right over there. Like LeBron is gonna start, he's gonna be looking like Uncle Phil here pretty soon. Like I know LeBron has been doing the hair transplants and the lace fronts and everything like that. You're
You
40
can't get
years
a
old.
better one.
You're 40, and LeBron is so committed to the lie. LeBron be brushing that bald spot and still wearing that do rag and the
He
whole
wears
thing.
a do rag every day, and is always, like pushing it down. Like, Bron, it ain't there. It ain't there.
Look, I don't know if that's just habit. Like I've been doing this my whole life, or if this is like fake it till you make it, right? Like I think I can, I think I can. I don't know
Right.
quite what it is, but dude, you're 40. It's okay. LeBron better not get out here looking like Carlos Boozer.
With the spray.
Yeah, like he better not humiliate himself doing that.
Yeah, I don't
Because
think he was able to do that. I hope not.
hey, Ken, do you remember the time when, like, I think it was AD's first year in LA when it was during the game and AD point, he's like, Bron, right?
Yes.
I think his wig was twisted. But in all seriousness, it's about time for LeBron. No boys to men, but he's getting close to the end of the road.
Yep.
We're
And that's
getting,
fine.
yeah.
That's fine. He had a heck of a career.
Just don't be out here. Look, I'm gonna say this, and we didn't even get a chance to talk about this. I hope good and well they don't make that boy go to the NBA. His son, because I'm like this boy got no business in the league next year. None at all. He got no business in the NBA next year. Like if his name was not what it was, no one would even think that this was a good idea. That
I
boy
think
needs
he's gonna
look. Bron need to stay in school. He need to go to class. Okay, go to class. Look, pay attention to them sociology and anthropology classes. Get your degree and go do something with your life, right? Like I'm all in favor of black nepotism, right? But in this situation, you LeBron James Jr., hey man, you setting yourself up for failure and unhappiness, pimp.
I don't necessarily want him to go to the Lakers, but I think he's gonna go in the league. Like this draft is terrible. Draft is terrible. Obviously, it's a big thing about him uh averaging 6 points a game. So the
5.
dude had a 5, right? Dude had cardiac arrest at the beginning of the year. Like he wasn't able to really go through it. And I'm not saying he would be a 15-point a game scorer, but I think that he will have a more defined role in the NBA. Like he's gonna at his peak, he will be a 3-and-D specialist with NBA athleticism.
So you're thinking like I the guy that's in my head right now is like Avery Bradley.
Now Avery Bradley was a better defender than him, but he's more athletic than Avery Bradley. He can handle the ball a little bit better. Um, but I think a guy like they compared him like maybe like Gary Harris. You know,
Right.
best 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 case scenario like that he could end up is maybe like a poor man's Drew Holiday, like Drew Holiday
Oh,
type. Because he is built, right? He is built, and he's like a combo guard. He's not really a point guard, and he's not really big enough to be a two guard, right? But he could probably defend. He could probably do a pretty good job defending both of those positions.
my thing with him is gonna be this, man. Most of the dudes who show up in the league are gonna be draft picks. Most of these dudes were one of the best 2 or 3 players on their team. He wasn't one of the best 5 players on his team. He couldn't start on a team in which the coach got fired. He couldn't start on a team in which, like, they finished 10th out of 12th in the Pac-12. What's left of it?
Mhm.
And he in the portal or whatever. He go to school, get better.
Probably should go to Duquesne. Braun best friend just got the head coaching job there. He'd probably be because the coach at Duquesne was Braun's high school coach.
Uh,
Um,
Drew Joyce.
Keith Dam, Keith
Oh,
Danbert,
really?
and Drew Joyce got the head coaching job because Keith Danbert retired. So he
Uh,
probably should go there and play for Braun's friend, and he'd probably dominate in the mid major. Like that would be a place where he could showcase his abilities on a different scale.
as long as he ain't got look, I'm telling you, Ken, if I was Bronny, it would be nothing less I would want to do than go be in the NBA and play on a team with my daddy. There is nothing less. I mm-mm,
Say the
mm-mm.
Spurs might get him.
We, we, no, no. We need to find some dudes that are willing to pass big parlay the ball. That's what we
Man,
need. Get Vassell and Cisco up out of here. I'm sick of Cisco. I
tell
am.
the folks who Cisco is. Tell the folks who Cisco is.
If you don't know who Cisco is, that means you're not a connoisseur of the 90s R&B, just like Kennedy Miller and I. Because if you watch the Spurs, you know good and well, one look at that roster, who Cisco is. You know. But no. Uh-uh.
Would you take Chris Paul on the Spurs? They said I just brought it up because it was a rumor that he's linked to them.
As an assistant coach, sure. As a player development coach, absolutely. But to put on some sneakers and some shorts and
He'll
play
get the ball to him.
basketball,
He'll
he
get the ball
will.
to him.
He will. Yo, that's another dude who need to let the hair go.
Yeah.
That's another dude who him and LeBron on the same program. They must be going to the same barber, the same hair transplant artist. They must.
It's about time for him to let it go. Like the career too.
Oh
He had a
yeah,
good
he
career.
in the year of our Lord. Look, we are getting old enough to see our heroes and the dudes we had on our walls as kids. Look at them and say, like, look at our younger cousins. Be like, he was a man in his time.
Man. Or like obviously I teach now and like I'm coaching, like dudes don't be understanding what dudes used to be. Like you don't know what Chris Paul was like in that 08-09 season when he averaged 20 and 12 and 2.5 steals and was third in MVP voting. Like you don't know that dude. Or you don't like these dudes barely know OKC Kevin Durant.
What? Wait, hold on. Wait, well, let's back up. You talking about like ninth graders?
Yeah, like ninth graders. So they were born in 09. So Kevin Durant made the finals when they were 3 years old.
The last time he played with Oklahoma City, they were in what, the first grade?
Yeah. They were what, 5 or 6? Because it was
Oh,
15.
15,
Yeah, like
16. Yeah.
they don't know OKC Kevin Durant and OKC Russell Westbrook. Like I saw a thing, somebody made a great point. I remember watching Rondo in college, and they posted because Rondo just retired. Rondo was wearing LeBron's in college, and now he's retired from the NBA. I'm like, we literally passing up like multiple, like going through multiple generations of players that we've like watched.
And before we know it, Ken, we are going to be sounding like our the uncles and the folks at the barbershop that we thought were old and irritating and annoying, who were talking about how these young people don't know how to play
I
basketball.
know.
Look, they got to put the ball between their legs before they want to take a jump shot. We gonna be sounding like them folks soon. Look, talking about, have you ever seen Steve Francis? Have you ever seen
Man,
we
Katino Mobley.
look, that's gonna be us talking about, look, because there's gonna come a generation in about 15 years or so who's gonna be talking about big parlay. Victor Wembanyama is the best player of all time, and he better than LeBron. And they're gonna be making these weird TikTok videos or whatever
Yes.
social media app they have, talking about LeBron can't go to his left, or pulling these random things up, right? And you're like, huh? And
Right.
that's when we know it's time to. That's what we gonna know it's time to go.
That is absolutely insane to me. And like obviously this Phoenix Minnesota game's on. Eric Gordon, who's what, like he needs to let it go too. But
Cooked.
I remember watching Sports Center and him having like 70 points in high school on Michael Jordan's sons. Like, and they thought this dude was gonna be like another Kobe coming into the league, which he wasn't. Like, for some reason, I just despise Eric Gordon, and
Why?
I I just feel like he complains so much. I feel like he thinks he's better than what he is, and he complains so much to the refs, and he just irks me. Always did, but
You said he
um,
hurt.
he does, and as we go through these lives, during these next couple of weeks, because I know I had a rant last year about Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
Glad he finally figured that out.
Yes, you did.
Glad he finally found himself. Right. Uh, I'll probably start disclosing more people that get on my nerves.
I got to
And
ask you this question, and then we got to wrap this thing up. So, on your level of he irks you, is this like one like Eric Gordon? I don't like that dude, or is it like that like 9 or 10 where Jim Ross was with Triple H, where he was wishing death upon Triple H week in and week out to the point where I hated Triple H till I was an adult because of Jim Ross? Like, where is that on the scale of like 1 to Jim Ross and Triple H?
it is about a 5. Like, it's not terribly bad, especially because he's not, like if he was on Denver doing this and the Lakers, he's playing against the Lakers, I'd probably not say it more, but like he's not to the Darvin Ham level of irritation that I'm at right now. Mr. Pocket Man, hands in his pocket the whole time. Like, I had one coach in Dallas that just clapped, and then I got another coach that just keep his hands in his pockets.
Which is worse to you? Which one is worse to you?
Oh, the clapping killed me. The clapping killed me. It did. It did. But like Darvin Ham is like, dude. Well, so last night, D'Angelo Russell gets smacked in the face. They say it's marginal contact, so they reverse the call. Then we have what I think is marginal contact with Jamal Murray, like flailing. He gets the foul call.
Right.
You got 2 timeouts, bro. Like, you can't take him home. You might as well challenge it. He didn't challenge it. Like, even if it was gonna be wrong, what, you gonna lose a timeout? You still got one more. He didn't even use it. Like, take your hands out your pockets and call a team. Call a team and review it. Because Mike Malone did it.
He did.
And that got to change the swing of the game.
I love when you like it is so funny when you get upset, man. I'm saying this and then we gotta run for real, man. I don't know why I just thought about this. Maya has some of the funniest jokes about what some of these coaches look like. She said T. Lou looks like a catfish.
He looks like Ice JJ Fish, the old YouTuber that used to be on there singing. He does. He really does.
She was like, he never has his mouth closed.
He never has his mouth closed. That is true.
She thought he was chewing on like a bottle cap, like a Coke, like a plastic top. She said T. Lou looked like a catfish, and I was like, all right, it's time to go. It's time to go. Oh man. And that is another episode of the Game Plan Podcast. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Kennedy Miller, my guy.
It was a pleasure per usual.
Where can the folks find you? Twitter, Instagram, all of that, man. Where can they find you?
_ Kennedy Miller _ Again, that's _ Kennedy with a Y, not an I. Miller _ On Instagram, it is _ Kennedy Miller, 2 underscores at the end. Again, that's _ Kennedy Miller with 2 underscores at the end.
All right. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. Again, on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. That's T as in Timberwolves, S as in Suns, like Phoenix Suns, M as in Jamal Murray. Follow the Game Plan Podcast on Instagram at _ the Game Plan Podcast. Again, on Instagram at _ the Game Plan Podcast. Wherever you're listening, however you're listening, we appreciate you guys for listening and for watching. For Kennedy Miller, my name is Alex Goodwin. We will see you guys next time. Y'all take it light.